on, people? LP2000 right back at you with another video. Yes. Welcome back. Welcome back to another edition of Leslie Chambers Kaiju Reviews on behalf of Collect All Monsters. And yep, if you saw my last video of the awesome, brilliant, spectacular 30cm resin model kit of the Monster Maker 28 1975 Godzilla, I teased at the end of that video that we'll be doing a Millennium monster. Yes. And look at her in all her glory. Yes, the queen. Yes, the queen in all her glory. So you already clicked the title. You know exactly who we're covering here. So without further ado, let's dive head first into this awesome, brilliant, spectacular 30cm resin model kit review. And today we take a look at the Resin Chef 30cm resin model kit of Megaguirus. Yes, the queen dragonfly, evil dragonfly that opposed the king of the monsters in the second awesome, spectacular Millennium Godzilla film, Godzilla vs. Megaguirus, aka Godzilla X Megaguirus, the G Extermination Strategy, or Godzilla vs. Megaguirus, the G Annihilation Strategy. Woo, that's a long title. If you thought the following film, GMK, had a long title, so did Megaguirus. But it's not about the title. It's about this awesome model kit. Oh my God, this thing is so amazing. And you know, we do things around here. Normally we get up close and personal with the packaging, the box, before we get into the figure, but again, kind of like the Monster Maker 2875 Godzilla in the last video, I don't have the packaging for this figure. Here's a picture of what the packaging looks like. Again, no different than standard model kit boxes. Again, they don't have the illustrative artwork that, you know, the X plus Sakai boxes or 30cm boxes, or even the gigantic boxes have. Right, just a promo card of, you know, Megaguirus, you know, Resin Chef Team Yukiki, or however you pronounce that. Legal jargon, Japanese jargon. 30cm resin model kit of the queen, Megaguirus. Really nothing spectacular, quite frankly. But again, it's not about the box. It is about the figure. Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is the Resin Chef 30cm Megaguirus. Oh my God, this thing is so amazing. Cause make no bones about the fact that, honestly, and I have no problem admitting this, Godzilla vs. Megaguirus is my second most favorite film of all time for the Millennium series. Even though I know this film kind of gets a mixed bag of reactions from fans. I'll talk about more about that later on, but I'm in the camp where I absolutely love this film, and again, I think it's the second best movie in the Millennium series. Of course, that could be debated, you know, because no Godzilla film is perfect, but for me, in my opinion, this is my second favorite Millennium Godzilla film behind GMK. Now, here's the backstory with me getting this figure. I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to two special people for making this happen. First and foremost, Charles Blankenship. I got this kit through him, and if you probably remember his name from a few videos ago, I got the KOC 1962 40cm resin model kit from him as well. So thank you to Charles Blankenship, really appreciate it. And of course, Mark Sang-yang built and painted this guy, you know what I'm saying? Again, you've heard Mark Sang-yang's name heard on my channel many times before, even more so as of late, because again, I'm being more so into these model kits as of late, you know what I'm saying? And I saw that Mr. Blankenship had this up for sale. Actually, I take that back. Actually, I contacted him privately because, again, I've been on a recent string of trying to acquire a lot of model kits as of late. And after I got my hands on the KOC 64, the KOC 62, the Monster Maker 28 75 Godzilla, the Resin Chef Martha Larva 1964, I contacted Charles and said, hey, do you have any other model kits that you don't mind letting go of? And he's like, yeah, I do have a couple. And the one, he listed out a few to me, but the one that jumped out at me that I knew I had to have under no circumstances, or at least under any circumstances, excuse me, was the Resin Chef Megaguirus. And I struck a deal with him, and of course I got Mark Sang-yang to build and paint it for me, and that's how I got my hands on this kit. This kit was originally released last year, I think late last year, in the year of 2021, and I think it's still available on the Resin Chef's website. I'll go on more into that later on. But again, the reason why I'm getting so late of acquiring this figure, because again, up until this moment, I haven't had any type of representations of Megaguirus in my collection, and I felt kind of bad about that because again, I love the movie so much, you know. And speaking of representations of Megaguirus, there have been a few of her out there, but Megaguirus is also one of those monsters that's really not represented well. There's not too many versions of her out there from a Kaiju Collectibles perspective. Of course, there were, I think a Bandai came out a few years ago. There were a couple more model kits of Megaguirus. I think this company called Capado or Capadu, or however you pronounce it, they made, I think, a 30cm, or at least a big version of Megaguirus. And that's been a long time ago, but that was an awesome looking kit, you know. KOC, they made one where both Megaguirus and Godzilla are locked in combat. That was an awesome looking kit. Wouldn't mind having that in my collection. A size okay, Yuji Sakai actually made one of actually the poster art. Remember the poster art where Godzilla and Megaguirus, the artistic poster art where Godzilla and Megaguirus are locked in combat, you know. A size okay, or at least Yuji Sakai made a model kit depicting that, you know, the artistic poster. So there have been a few model kits of her out there, not to mention the Bandai, but I think the most popular one that people tend to think about that pop into their mind when you say Megaguirus Kaiju Collectible is the M1, you know, the stylized, I think, Marmot style type of M1 figure of Megaguirus. But aside from that, she's a monster that don't really pop up that often, which is really unfortunate. And this one kind of slipped under my radar last year because last year there were a few great model kits. A bunch of them we covered on Collect On Monsters when we did our end of the year figure awards, and we had a model kit category courtesy of DavidArab.co. Model kit is extraordinaire. And the breakout ones that came out last year were the Roto Kaiju Drunk version of Kong, 1962. That was a great kit that came out last year. The Billiken Gargantuous came out last year. That was a great kit. Those two monsters were great kits. Again, the Monster Maker 28 1975 Godzilla, that came out last year. The T-Spectro Millennium version of Godzilla, I think that's the version 2. That came out last year. And of course the KOC 1962 Godzilla came out last year. You know, great model kits came out last year, and so did this one. But again, this one kind of slipped under my radar because again, not too many people were talking about it. Ironically, that's how a lot of people feel about Megaguirus, because not too many people talk about that film as well. So this one kind of slipped under my radar. There were a few people that got it, just a couple people, but it was not too well known throughout the community. But once I found out that Charles Blankenship had this queen in his possession, I was like, you know what, I gotta have it. And that's how I got my hands on this kit. I've had it since, I want to say, I think last month. Oh, I think I got it in April, I believe, you know. But yeah, this is a great kit. And that's the backstory with me getting this kit. So without further ado, let's dive headfirst into this awesome sculpture of the Resin Chef 30cm Megaguirus. First off, let's start off with the size. As you can see here, it's a good size kit. With the base and everything, it looks really great. On top of the base, she stands at approximately 15 inches tall, and her wingspan is almost 2 feet tall, 2 feet wide, 23 inches and a half inches wide. So she's a good size kit. And again, she's made of resin, and I'm afraid if I even look at it wrong, she may come falling apart. You have to be really careful when you handle resin pieces. More so this one than the other ones, because again, you know, the wings as well as her claws here, her legs, very delicate. So if you get this kit, please handle it with micro kitty gloves if you can, because again, it is so delicate, really delicate. And again, resin, if there's a breakage in a resin piece, it's kind of hard to put back together. You know, you can do it, but it's kind of hard. So just be careful if you do get this kit. Handle it with kitty gloves, or as I said before, micro kitty gloves. Now, before we go into the awesome monster, let's go into the base. And as you can see here, the base looks great. The base comes with a sunken building within this body of water here, which looks really great. I had Mark actually, this wooden part here, I had Mark actually add this to give it more size, to give it more height. To make a more dynamic presentation, if you will. So that looks great. The way he colored the water looks really good, and it has a glossy finish. Like the water is actually churning, which looks really good. And he also added this mini little boat with a human inside, rowing away from the building. And the miniature of the human looks really good, especially when you look at I think it's a lady. You look at her in the boat paddling away, but yet you zoom up and you see the awesome, evil, menacing Megaguirus just looming above her. It makes a great presentation. So I'm glad that he added those 2 extras for me. Again, the wooden base as well as the 3 things actually: the glossy finish of the water, the churning water, the wooden base, as well as the individual human here. You know, puts things in perspective, especially when you see a human up against a giant monster like this. Looks really good. So thank you, Mark Singing, for doing that. On top of you painting and building this kit for me, but we'll get to that later on. So the base, the whole presentation of Megaguirus on top of the base, looks really good. And actually, again, with the churning water, this actually is reminiscent of what happened in the film anyway. Remember, in the film, of course, I'm going to spoilers. If you're not seeing Godzilla X Megaguirus, pause the video, then come back. I'm going to spoilers in 3, 2, 1. Of course, in the movie, we all know that when the egg of Megaguirus was brought in because of the experimentation of the Dimension Tide weapon, and then the little kid finds it, and he brings it to Tokyo, and he dumps it into the sewer system, and the egg that would eventually evolve into Megaguirus. You know, it was an egg that then split off into many other eggs because water fed into the reproduction system of the egg, and then the egg, you know, spawned into little mega neuron larva, which then spread out into mega nula, which then traveled to Godzilla to exact energy from him, which brought the energy back to the cocoon, which then produced Megaguirus. So this presentation here is really reminiscent of the flooded area in Tokyo. I think it was Shibuya, if I'm not mistaken. So I really do like that. The presentation, again, just reminds me of what happened in the movie. And then when Megaguirus rises up out of the water, this is what you get. So again, Mark Sang-Yang, awesome. Now, let's go into the kit itself. And again, I've said many times before, at least in my recent string of videos when it comes to model kits, the 2 most important things when it comes to a model kit, that the sculpt has to be right on a particular monster and the paint job has to be right. If one of those 2 things are off, it makes for really a not balanced presentation. But I think this is a great balance between an awesome sculpt, an awesome paint job, combined with the base here, and you get really a perfect representation of the queen monster from Godzilla X Megaguirus. And again, the sculpt of Megaguirus looks really good. Again, when you handle this figure, really be careful with it, because again, it's made of resin. And also, it should go without saying, if you have small children, if you're a collector and you have small children and you get this kit, keep children, especially children that are not mindful of their surroundings, keep children like 1,000 feet away from this sculpture. Because again, I'm looking at it, I'm afraid me looking at it wrong will cause it to break. But there are so many delicate areas on this figure as well. You know, the spikes, you know, the spikes protruding pretty much everywhere. You know, the stinger on the end, her legs, as well as her main claws or whatever, her teeth, you know. Just be careful. I mean, there's just no other ways to get around that. Please be careful when handling this this model kit if you do get it. But the sculpt is great. I love how, you know, you have like I said, the sharp edges of her spikes on her tail, the stinger, the spikes on her back, just her whole nature. Like her skin, not tree bark skin like Godzilla, but it's really scaly. You know what I'm saying? Really scaly, and probably could do some damage if you do handle it incorrectly. Not to mention, again, you may break the figure, but you may cause damage to yourself because there's so many sharp edges on this kit. But the sculpt looks great. You know, again, the big claws in the front look really good. One claw is more open than the other one, which looks awesome. Her legs looks really good. You know, looks awesome. You know, the spikes coming from the outskirts of the legs looks great, as well as the claws at the end of her foot her feet look great, as well as the wings here. You got the wing tips look great. The details on the wings look awesome. You know, this overhead shot that you see right here, you know, it looks great. Looks really phenomenal. The head, you know, head looks great. Menacing, Megaguirus, you know, and Megaguirus. That's the thing. This monster looks really, it's just something jarring or something just really evil looking about this monster. Even that moment when she gets the better of Godzilla when they fight at the end, and she causes that thing at that building to crash on top of Godzilla's head, and she gives like this little sinister smile. God almighty, that scene always gets to me because this monster looks so evil, look just so destructive, looks so heinous, and it's really replicated here in the face sculpt here with the intricately sculpted teeth, you know, the big red eyes of Megaguirus, you know, whatever, looks really good. Amazing. So the sculpture on everything, the head, the spikes, the back spikes, the tail looks really good. The legs, the claws, the wings, everything, the texture on the wings looks really good. Again, not to mention the building here. Awesome sculpt. Now we're going to the paint job. Again, Mark Sang-Yang, awesome. You already know that. This is a no-brainer. It's not like I'm breaking news here, but Mark Sang-Yang, phenomenal job, you know, with the colors of Megaguirus, you know, with the yellow on the outskirts of the body in certain areas, you know, more so of a charcoal bluish color on the rest of the body, you know, on the wingtips as well as the interior of the body. Looks great. The way he cut up the legs, the yellow on the legs, you know, even the underbelly, even the underbody looks really good. Even the tail, you know, you have those little red spots that go towards the tip of the tail, which was Megaguirus' greatest weapon, but also her Achilles heel. Of course, you already know what I'm talking about. So the tail is sculpted really well, or at least painted really well. Perfect in my opinion. So again, amazing sculpture of Megaguirus from top to bottom. Again, the presentation of the base, you know, the building, the sunken building, the churning water, the individual human, you know, the wooden base underneath the churning water, courtesy of Mark Sang-Yang, obviously. You know, this golden steel rod, you know, which kind of blends in with the yellowish color on Megaguirus here. Again, adds into the presentation. The sculpt of Megaguirus, the evil looking face, the big red eyes, the sharp looking teeth, the claws, the wings, her Achilles heel, greatest weapon, tail, stinger tail. Again, it looks amazing. It looks amazing. And again, as I mentioned earlier, I think she still is up there on the Resin Chef website. But again, like I mentioned in my Monster Maker 2875 Godzilla video, again, that website, Resin Chef, is in Japanese. So if you know somebody that knows Japanese or you're able to navigate it yourself, I think she's still up there. I think for what I recall seeing, the figure price that was 24,000 yen, which should be like maybe 200 or maybe 190, because the yen to dollar conversion rate is awesome right now. They're not equal as we have seen in the past. So you're able to get these great figures from Japan and take advantage of that yen to a dollar conversion rate and get more bang for your buck, especially right now. I know, you know, a lot of people are struggling out there with the way the economy here is in the United States, you know, with the gas prices going up, food going up, pretty much everything going up. But when it comes to collecting, for us, like I said, yen to dollar conversion rate, the yen is down. So you're able to get more bang for your buck and get these figures for a more affordable price. Taking advantage of that, because it's not going to last forever. Because there will come a time where the yen and the dollar will become hand in hand. So again, take advantage of that right now and go on Resin Chef's website and get this sculpt, at least this model kit of Megaguirus. If you're a fan of the movie, if you're a fan of the monster herself, and if you know some people in our community that can build and paint it for you, like the awesome David Eric.co, the awesome Steve Heron, Steve Savagoli, John LeGrand, you know what I'm saying, just awesome people. Mark Sang-Yang, you know, awesome people that can help build and paint this thing for you, or at least give you some advice on how to build and paint it yourself if you want to do it yourself. Please take advantage of that, and you will not be disappointed, because again, there's not too many versions of this monster out there. You know, of course, like I said, the Bandai, the M1, the few model kits I'm talking about, but she is really scarce in the market when it comes to Megaguirus products. But with this recent resurfacing of Megaguirus, courtesy of Resin Chef last year, take advantage of it, and you will not be disappointed. Yes. So that's pretty much it with the backstory, up close and personal with the sculpt. You know, again, thank you to Charles Blankenship, thank you to Mark Sang-Yang, and I also want to give a shout out to Bill. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing your name right, Bill Goodmunson, I think that's how you pronounce his name. He was the man behind the sculpt of Megaguirus, you know, and I think a good majority, if not all, of Resin Chef sculpts. So a huge shout out to him, because he has done a phenomenal job with the sculpt. So again, thank you to Bill, thank you to Mark, and thank you to Charles for making this happen for me. And I really feel proud to have this in my collection. Yes. So let's do a couple size comparisons. And again, Megaguirus, and you heard me call her a queen a few times before, because again, Megaguirus, in case you don't know, is one of the few female monsters that we have in the tokusatsu game, and I have a few other female monsters in my collection. So let's see how this queen stacks up with other female monsters I have in my collection. So let's do the all-female kaiju collectibles I have in my collection size comparison. Let's do that, ladies and gentlemen, right now. Okay, folks, this is the first size comparison, and yeah, no boys allowed. Yes. An all-female kaiju collectible size comparison, and yes, we have the main queen of the hour in the back, of course, the Resin Chef 30cm resin model kit of Megaguirus, flanked by other female monsters in the tokusatsu game. Of course, down in the foreground, we have the X Plus Devil Standard Edition of Biollante. Above her, we have the 25cm X Plus Queen Legion. Down in the foreground, besides Biollante, we have the X Plus 25cm Jiger from Gamma vs. Jiger. And of course, behind her, we have the original queen of the monsters, the 1964 25cm X Plus version of Mothra. And as you can see here, this is great. This is great because, again, a lot of these monsters that we know and love, you know, Godzilla, Kong, Gamma, King Ghidorah, Gigan, maybe Mechagodzilla. Well, we can't count Mechagodzilla because he's a robot. But again, Godzilla, Gamma, Kong, the Gargantuous, you know what I'm saying? Those monsters are recognized as male. But a lot of people tend to think that Mothra, if they're not aware of the other monsters, that Mothra is the only female monster out there, and that's not the case. Because again, Jiger was a female monster, Biollante was a female monster, Legion was a female monster, and as you can see here, you know, this is great. So it's nice to have this this collection of female monsters, you know. So if you have all these figures in your collection, again, this is a great comparison. This is a great setup here. Again, there are not many female kaiju out there, but but the ones we do have, Megaguirus, Mothra, Jiger, Biollante, Queen Legion, as you can see here, they look great. Again, no boys allowed. So that's it with the first size comparison with the all-female kaiju collectibles I have in my collection. At least a good chunk of them. So let's go with the final size comparison, and we already know who's coming. We already know who's coming in the next size comparison. So let's bring up the awesome, iconic monster that Megaguirus fought in Godzilla X Megaguirus with a version of Godzilla from that movie, courtesy of X Plus. So let's do that final size comparison or comparison in general right now. Okay, folks, this is the last and final size comparison, and yes, this is the setup I wanted to make happen for a long time. And of course, alongside the 30cm Resin Chef Megaguirus resin model kit, I have the monster that she opposed in Godzilla X Megaguirus. Of course, the iconic king of the monsters, Godzilla. And of course, this is the X Plus 25cm standard edition of the 1999 Godzilla. And as you can see, they look well together. Now, keep in mind, since Megaguirus is technically a 30cm kit, you know, she can run in the 25cm scale as far as X Plus figures are concerned. And as you can see here, Godzilla looks really well up against Megaguirus. Maybe a little bit too small, just a little bit, ever so slightly. But the setup, I think, still works. And of course, again, even though this is the 1999 Godzilla, it's still technically the same suit that was used in Godzilla X Megaguirus, even though it was somewhat slightly modified. But again, I'm sure even hardcore Godzilla fans will probably would not know the difference between the 1999 and 2000 Godzilla suits. So you can actually get away with this setup here. And again, this looks great. You know, this version of Godzilla, at least this figure of Godzilla, going up against Megaguirus here. Great setup. But I also have another option to make a setup for this resin model kit of Megaguirus. I also have the X Plus 30cm version 2 of the 1999 Godzilla that came out through Diamond several years ago. And you can actually pair that kit up against Megaguirus, you know. Even though it's a slightly smaller version than the other 30cm 1999 Godzillas that X Plus has done, you know, you still can get away with that setup with that version of Godzilla. So you have options here. So if you do go after this kit of Megaguirus, whether it's the 25cm 1999 Godzilla or the version 2 1999 30cm Godzilla courtesy through Diamond, you know, you get yourself great setups. You got some options of the perfect setup to this amazing film. Yes, I said amazing, of Godzilla X Megaguirus. So that's pretty much it. The size comparisons with the female kaiju collectible comparisons in the first round. Now we have Godzilla in the second round. This is great. So whether you have Megaguirus, whether she stands alone or up against other figures, you got yourself some great options for cool setups on your hands. Yes. So that's it with all the size comparisons. So let's go into the final commentary portion of the video. Let's wrap up my final thoughts of the 30cm Resin Chef resin model kit of the awesome queen of Godzilla X Megaguirus in Megaguirus. So let's do that, ladies and gentlemen, right now. Okay, folks, I'm back with my final thoughts of the Resin Chef 30cm resin model kit of Megaguirus from Godzilla X Megaguirus. Once again, 10 out of 10. I really love this thing. Oh my God, this is such an exquisite piece. Again, a delicate piece. As you saw earlier, you know, again, I have to handle this thing with really special handling, or with kitty gloves, you know. Because it is resin, and because, like I said, of the sharp spikes, you know, the sharp edges on the wings, you know, the tail, on the legs, even the claws. It's a real delicate figure. So if you go after this piece, please understand. Please just be careful with it. Under any circumstances, please be careful with it, and I think you'll have a great representation of the awesome monster from Godzilla X Megaguirus. Again, I think there are on the Resin Chef website. Again, if you need somebody to navigate their website for you, please do so, because again, the website is in Japanese. But again, if you're a fan of this movie or a fan of the monster, you owe it to yourself to go after this piece, because again, there's not too many representations of Megaguirus out there from a kaiju collectibles perspective. There are some, you know, but it's very too far in between, you know. She's like one of the last remaining monsters of the Millennium series that don't really have a lot of representations. You can throw Orga in that mix too, but they've done a lot of Guirus, you know, a few Final Wars Gigans, you know, whatever. But for some reason, Megaguirus is like really low when it comes to representations from kaiju, as far as kaiju collectibles. But you can rectify that by going to the Resin Chef website and getting this kit yourself, because this kit is awesome. As you can see, I'm in full Megaguirus mode, because I make no bones about the fact that I love Godzilla X Megaguirus. You know, it's my second favorite film in the Millennium series behind GMK. And honestly, when I tell folks that, I get a mixed bag of reaction from people. Some people are like, wow, that's interesting. There are some people that say, you like that one? Because this film doesn't exactly have the best reputation when it comes to fans. Again, I think it's split down the middle, where you either love this film or like it, or you just hate it, you know what I'm saying? Or it's one of those films that honestly, it doesn't get talked about a lot. This is like one of those overlooked films in the series. I put this film in the same category as maybe Godzilla Raids Again or Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster. It's just those films that they're there, but they don't get a lot of attention, you know, in comparison to the other films. But again, I so love this film. And when you think about the other entries in the Millennium series, of course, I look at GMK as the pinnacle, as the best one from the Millennium series. But to say this film is like the worst, when you got Final Wars, when you got Final Wars, no. And honestly, I can be fine with the Millennium series. This may give me some heat, but I will be fine with the Millennium series if they only had just GMK and Godzilla X Megaguirus. Godzilla 2000, the Kiryu films, and Final Wars, if they were to disappear, it's not like I would lose sleep over it. If you love those films, that's no shade against you. But for me, those films just don't do it for me. But again, I'm one of those ones that's very vocal about my love and admiration of Megaguirus, you know what I'm saying? Again, my second favorite behind GMK, and I look at this film as a really solid entry. Honestly, I guess the reason why I love this film is probably the same reasons why I loved another film at one time that was, when it first came out, it wasn't considered all that great. In fact, it was a box office disappointment. And that's Godzilla vs. Biollante. Yes, when Godzilla vs. Biollante first came out, it wasn't well received at the box office. It didn't make the numbers, you know what I'm saying, which is why they brought King Ghidorah back in the following film in the Heisei series. But as time has gone on, Biollante has become one of the most beloved films in the franchise. I think Megaguirus, it probably needs more watching to probably get to that status. But again, the same reason why I love Godzilla vs. Biollante is the same reasons why I love Godzilla vs. Megaguirus or X Megaguirus. And honestly, there are so many similarities between the two films if you really sit down and think about it. For one, they're both the second film in their respective eras. You know, Biollante with the Heisei, Megaguirus for the Millennium, right? Both films feature a good substantial amount of Godzilla on-screen time. You know, there's not, you know, the films do not go long without seeing Godzilla, and again, he's pretty much present throughout each film, which I really do enjoy. The monsters that he fights in both films, Biollante and Megaguirus, are both female, which is awesome, and both of them kind of had Godzilla had a hand in creating both monsters. You know, the Godzilla cells in Biollante, Godzilla stolen energy to create Megaguirus, right? Both films, even though they are featured, even though it features Godzilla versus another monster, even though they are titled Godzilla vs. Biollante or Godzilla X Megaguirus, the movie is more so about Japan having to deal with Godzilla coming back. And honestly, the monster fights are like really the added bonus. They're not really the driving force of the film, right? Both films feature Godzilla taking on a military flying war machine, you know, Super X2 in Biollante, the Griffin in Megaguirus. Both feature great Godzilla designs himself, you know, the 89 as well as the 2000 here. So there are so many similarities between both films. And again, that's the reason why I really love, at least one of the reasons why I love Megaguirus, and why I don't subscribe to the idea that is the worst film in the Millennium series, one of the worst films of all time. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. But as far as like a solid entry, where you get a cool story, a great Godzilla design, a cool monster battle, just a great Godzilla film through and through, I think you get what you asked for with Godzilla X Megaguirus. That's just my opinion. I'm sure there are a lot of folks out there who disagree with me, and there have been a lot of folks out there that disagree with me. But for me, I so love this film. I really do love this film. Again, it's not perfect, but considering the other alternatives from the Millennium series, it's really not that bad when you sit down and think about it. But from a kaiju collector's perspective, again, she's not out there that often. But I'm glad Resin Chef really came out with this kit. I think, and I forgot to mention this earlier, this makes my third Resin Chef official kit I have in my collection. The first was the 30cm Rodan 1965 kit, or Monster 02. The second one was the Resin Chef Martha Larva 1964 that you just got finished seeing recently on my channel. And this makes my third. And as far as like what I may go after next, as far as like Resin Chef, that's the thing. His sculpts are cool, but not every sculpt is a winner. You know, there are a few out there that I'm like, nah, I'm not interested. But if I do find these two at G-Fest in like a month or so, I may go after it. He made a 30cm 1971 Godzilla, and it comes on top of an ore refinery base, which looks awesome. And if I can find one at G-Fest, I may go after him. Or I may get the 30cm 1972 Gigan kit. And again, like the 71 Godzilla that I just finished talking about, he comes on top of a mini base diorama, ore refinery diorama. So if I find either one of those kits, I may go after one if I find them at G-Fest in a month or so. But again, Resin Chef has done a phenomenal job with Megaguirus. It is awesome. It is amazing. And again, if you're a fan of this film and of the monster, you owe it to yourself to go after this model kit. No questions asked. Yes, yes, yes. So that pretty much concludes my review of the 30cm Resin Chef resin model kit of the awesome evil queen dragonfly herself, the amazing Megaguirus. Yes, yes, yes. Best of a super cool appearance in the super cool second Millennium Godzilla film, Godzilla X Megaguirus, the G Annihilation Strategy, also known as Godzilla vs. Megaguirus, the G Annihilation Strategy. If you have any questions, comment down in the comment section. Hit me on Facebook via Let's Play Chambers. We'll definitely go from there. Yes, once again, awesome, exquisite piece. Oh my God, I feel so grateful and honored and happy to finally have something of Megaguirus in my collection, because I am such a huge fan of the monster and of the film. It's finally have something far as Megaguirus herself in my collection. Now, I do have the X Plus Death for Real Godzilla 2000 that has the little Meganula embedded into the figure. But that's the closest thing I ever gotten to getting something Megaguirus wise, or something pertaining to Megaguirus. But finally, I have the official monster in all her evil glory, courtesy of the awesome folks at Resin Chef. So again, this is so amazing. So thank you to Bill Gimmunson. I'm sorry if I butcher your name. Of course, Mark Sanyang and also Charles Blankenship. Y'all have no idea what this means to me. This is great. This is so awesome. And I mentioned earlier that this is my third official Resin Chef model kit behind the Rodin 65 and the Martha Larver 64. Now, again, if you want this kit, you can go on the Resin Chef's website right now and get this kit and you'll be good to go. Or this could be another viable option. Because recently, X Plus announced that they're going to bring forth a flying version of the 1971 Hedra. Yes. I mentioned that in my Martha Larver 64 video. And I mentioned that video that the sculpt that X Plus is going to be taking for the flying Hedra, that actually was an original sculpt from a Resin Chef kit. And to my knowledge, this is the first time that X Plus has done anything involving Resin Chef, where they have taken a Resin Chef sculpt and basically made it into one of their figures. You know, this is the first time that I recall them doing that, you know. So if they can do that with Hedra, never say never. They probably can do the same thing if there's enough support surrounding it, that they can get their hands on this kit of Megaguirus and make a vinyl version of Megaguirus, courtesy of the favorite sculptors line. Never say never, but I think if enough people get behind it, I think X Plus will do that. Even if they don't make a standard or Rick exclusive edition, you can still make your money by doing just a Rick exclusive edition. Because again, this monster and or the movie doesn't have the best reputation amongst fans. Only a select few, may not select few, that's the wrong word to say. I know a few people love this film. I'm sure several people love this film. So even if they offer it as a Rick exclusive, I'm sure they can make their money if they go after this sculpt. So that could be a viable option in the future. Never say never, but in the meantime, if you want an accurate, awesome sculpt of Megaguirus, look no further than this girl right here, courtesy of the fine folks at Resin Chef. Yes. Man, this is so great. And again, I'm on a model kit tear as of late. So the coverage and the party train is still keeping going, still keeping on going. With my next video, I won't tell you exactly who it is. I'm going to tease you with this. Because if you've seen my recent string of videos, when it comes to model kits, right, I've done basically a Godzilla model kit, then the next model kit would be non-Godzilla, then I go back to Godzilla. Here we are with the non-Godzilla monsters, so you know the next video will be a model kit of Godzilla himself. And I think I already teased before that I got a certain model kit of a Godzilla design from the Millennium series, but I have also acquired another that y'all don't know about at this point, because I haven't posted it on Facebook or anything like that. So you're going to have to wait and see which Millennium Godzilla model kit will be in the next video, but I promise you will enjoy it. Yes. But until then, this is awesome. 10 out of 10. The sculpt of the monster, the base, the color, everything. This is such an awesome, near perfect representation of the evil Queen Dragonfly herself. Yes. And I couldn't even be more happier. So ladies and gentlemen, I give to you finally the Resin Chef 30cm Resin model kit of the awesome evil Queen Dragonfly herself, the amazing Megaguirus from Godzilla X Megaguirus. Yes. So thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. Now we'll see y'all again on that Figure Move review. All right. Y'all take it easy.